Hey guys, welcome to today's lesson. We are looking at expanding expressions. Hopefully it should be a pretty brief tutorial because again, these are things you've done before. So what does expanding mean? Well, for example, you might have a question that says this. So expanding brackets means to basically multiply them out. Okay, what this technically means is that we have a 2a plus 3 and we are adding 5 of them together. This is kind of what it means, right? And again, you've done this for quite some time. So you can see here I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 of these things being multiplied. Okay, that's what the 5 at the front actually means. Now, a quick way of doing it, because that's going to take ages each time, you could say something like, well, I have 5 lots of 2a and I have 5 lots of 3. And that's technically what you're doing. Now, when you've done this previously in class, I know for my methods, for example, I call it the rainbow effect. A lot of people will call it distributing or binomials, all different stuff, right? We say 5 lots of 2a, which is 10a, and we say 5 lots of 3, which is 15. And you can see that's over here exactly what I would have. Now, I don't actually like doing the expanding part. That's the expanding part, the 5 times 2a and the 5 times 3, because often when it says to expand the brackets, a lot of students just leave it as that and they don't simplify. Remember, when you are asked to expand means to simplify as well. So we've got to do both. We can't just expand them, okay? I've got to make that really clear. And that's pretty much it. And you've done this before. So, we could do a harder one, of course, like 5a outside of a plus 6. Okay, where I have a number and a letter at the front. So how would you do this? Well, 5a times a, we're looking at our index laws now that we've done them for some time, 5a squared. Then we've got the 5a times a 6, that makes 30a. And what I've now done, I've just expanded. There's nothing really to simplify in this case, so job done. Now, let's look at something a little bit more complicated. I'm going to do a outside of a plus 3, and I'm going to say 2 outside of a plus 6. Sometimes you're going to have questions that have more than one bracket to expand, and then that simplification process is going to be more prominent. So in this instance, what could we do? Well, let's times each of these things out. A times a makes a squared, and a times 3, that makes 3a. I now move on to the second set of brackets. We have 2 times a, and it's a positive 2a, and then we have a positive 2 times 6 makes positive 12. Now I have expanded my brackets, which is great. Problem is I now have things that I can simplify because from that last lesson, I now have some like terms. I have this 3a and this 2a in the middle, which we know can be added together to make 5a. So I have to do that. A squared plus 5a plus 12. And now what we've managed to do, we've expanded, we've simplified into its most simplest form. Okay, so each time all we're doing here is multiplying those brackets out, okay, and then we are simplifying if there is anything that can be simplified. Now I'm going to throw you a harder question. We often see this in the standard course in HSC, and it's quite a tricky little one. Because what we now do, we start to use a little bit of bid maths. Now, most people, I'll be honest, if you throw this to your mum and dad, they'll say 3 minus 2 is 1, 1 lot of a plus 6 is a plus 6. But they're going to get it wrong. Think about bid maths. Bid maths talks about brackets. Well, there are brackets there, but there's not much we can do inside them. Then it talks about indices. No indices. But then it talks about times or divide, whichever comes first. And we know that a 2 at the front of those brackets means that we are multiplying. So we have to distribute that. We have to expand those brackets out. So negative 2 times a is negative 2a, and negative 2 times 6, remember it's a negative and a positive number being times together, that equals negative 12. So I've actually expanded those brackets out first. Now we can deal with the add or subtract, whichever comes first. Let's look at some like terms. We have a positive 3, we have a negative 12, and I've just got 1a in the middle. Well, a negative 2a in the middle, but certainly one set of variables in the middle. So I'm going to do the numbers first, the constants. 3 subtract 12. Well, 3 subtract 12, that will be negative 9, I believe. And then we have a minus 2a, and that is my final answer. Okay, so what I did there was I multiplied the negative 2 out both times, the a and the 6. I then simplified the positive 3 and the negative 12. Okay, gents, I think that's pretty much all you really need to do on this stuff because you've done it before, so it's a bit of revision. Next lesson we'll be looking at undoing that expansion, which is of course the factorization. Hope you're enjoying yourself. Have a wonderful day.